Welcome to the Town Board meeting, Thursday, October 15th. Please rise and salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Emergency exits are to my right behind the town attorney and also the door you came in. Roll, please.
Supervisor Purdy.
Here.
Council members Doyle.
Here.
Samoji. Here. Gutierrez.
Here.
Morris.
Here.
Okay, make a motion to open the public hearing for a tax cap override.
Second. Supervisor Purdy.
Yes.
Council members Doyle.
Yes.
Samoji. Yes. Gutierrez.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
Did you receive any comment?
Supervisor, at this time I've received no comments.
Okay. And no one is calling
And I'm looking
in?
now, so there's been nothing.
Okay, does anyone else have any other comment? No? Make a motion to return to regular meeting.
Second. Supervisor Purdy.
Yes.
Council members Doyle.
Yes.
Samoji. Yes. Gutierrez.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
Resolution number?
41.
Adopting a local law of the Town of Amenia, New York to override the tax levy limit for fiscal year 2021 established in General Municipal Law, Section 3C. Whereas a resolution was duly adopted by the Town Board of the Town of Amenia, introducing proposed local law number, we don't know, X, of 2020, entitled Local Law Number X of the year 2020 to override the tax levy limit for fiscal year 2021 established in General Municipal Law, Section 3C. Whereas the public hearing was duly advertised in Millerton News, the official newspaper of the town. Whereas the public hearing was held on October 15, 2020, and all parties in attendance were permitted an opportunity to speak on behalf of or in opposition to said proposed local law or any part thereof. Whereas the town board determined that the proposed local law is not subject to environmental review. Whereas the town board of the Town of Amenia, after due deliberation, finds it is in the best interest of the town to adopt said local law. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the Town of Amenia hereby adopts local law number X of 2020, entitled Local Law Number X of the year 2020, to override the tax levy limit for fiscal year 2021, established in General Municipal Law, Section 3C, a copy of which is attached hereto and made a part thereof. Can I make that motion?
Second. Supervisor Purdy.
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle.
Yes.
Gutierrez.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
Samoji. Yes.
Resolution number 42.
Yes.
Authorizing streetlight conversion by New York State Electric and Gas Company, NYSEC. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Amenia has received a proposed letter agreement from New York State Electric Gas Incorporation to replace existing non-LED fixtures in the Town of Amenia with LED fixtures. And whereas there are currently 217 SC3 Cobra Head streetlights within the Town of Amenia that are eligible for conversion to LED streetlights. Whereas the current SC3 Cobra Head streetlights will be converted to the manufacturer's suggested equivalent LED streetlights, resulting in the functional equivalent amount of light emanating from each streetlight. Whereas the total cost for the conversion is $8,454.87, which will be paid by the Wassaic and Amenia lighting districts. Whereas the LED light conversion is anticipated to have an estimated annual savings for the town of approximately $13,006. Whereas the Town of Amenia determines that execution of the NYSEC streetlight conversion agreement is a Type 2 action pursuant to 6 NY CRR 61759C1, and is otherwise exempt from environmental review pursuant the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act. And now therefore be it resolved that the recitations above set forth are incorporated in this resolution as it fully set forth and adopted herein. 2, that the Town Board of the Town of Amenia hereby authorizes the Town Supervisor to execute a letter of agreement with NYSEC to convert all SC3 Cobra head street lights over to LED street lights with the manufacturer's suggested equivalent light for the 217 Cobra head street lights, the Town of Amenia, for a total cost of $8,454.87. 3, that the supervisor is hereby directed to provide a copy of the letter of agreement signed by all parties to the town clerk, who shall remain the same in her files. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Discussion.
I need a second.
Second?
I'll second.
Yep.
Discussion. Just real fast, we had talked about the NYSEG choosing the wattage, but we had, I think, agreed that we would go with the AMA recommended 3,000 Kelvin.
Yes.
Okay.
So why in this resolution does it say we're going to replace it with the manufacturer's suggested equivalent lighting? Why don't we just say the
That's with regards
3,000?
to the wattage. The Kelvin is the temperature, the light
Yeah.
temperature. That was with regards to the wattage. So the amount of light that's actually being emanated is not changing. The lights will be functionally the same. You could have opted for the
4,000.
4,000, but I think they call it like a daylight,
Right.
which is a much brighter light, which would also create other issues, I think, on your secret review. So the fact that we're only doing the 3,000, the functional lighting equivalent is not changing.
Okay.
I'd also like to point out, after speaking with the representative from NYSEC, I also became aware that the town will get 10 credits toward our climate smart certification by putting in the LED lights
Sweet. Did they tell you what timeline they're working on
next year.
next year?
They didn't give me a specific date yet, but they said next year.
That's it. No further discussion from me.
Okay, Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
Councilmembers Doyle?
Yes.
Gutierrez?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Smoji?
Yes. Keep 43.
Yes.
Okay, resolution awarding bid for approximately 290 feet of split rail fencing along the newly constructed Wassaic Trail to the Train. Whereas the town of Amenia has constructed a multi-use path approximately 3,500 feet long and located adjacent to New York State Route 22 and Metro North Railroad Harlem Line. Whereas the town of Amenia is seeking to install 290 feet of split rail fencing to be located along the trail in the hamlet of Wassaic in the vicinity of Old Cross Road. Whereas the fencing is being installed to prevent pedestrians from meandering off the rail trail into private property in this location. Whereas the town board solicited written quotes for said fencing from Millbrook Fence, A&C Fence LLC, and Kindred Property Care, and the following bid quotes were received. Millbrook Fence, 3-rail split fence, $4,800. A&C Fence LLC, 3-rail split fence, $4,900, and 3-rail split fence Black Locust was $5,900. Kindred Property Care, 3-rail split fence, $5,626.63, and 3-rail split fence Locust, $5,743.72. I also had an email. I asked Millbrook Fence if what they gave me for I don't think it's here, for because they said, actually in their bid, they actually quote it as Locust Fence.
Right.
So it is the same. So it looks like the low bid is Millbrook Fence, whereas the town board has determined that the lowest responsible bid received is from Millbrook Fence in the amount of $4,800. Now therefore be it resolved as follows, The recitations above set forth are incorporated in this resolution as if fully set forth and adopted herein. 2, the Town of Amenia hereby awards the bid for the installation of approximately 290 feet of split-rail fencing to be located along the trail in the hamlet of Wassaic in the vicinity of Old Cross Road for the bid amount of $4,800. The town board hereby authorizes the supervisor of the Town of Amenia to execute a contract in accordance with the Millbrook fence quote annexed hereto. The supervisor is hereby directed to provide a copy of the contract signed by all parties to the town clerk, who shall maintain the same in her file. Is there a motion?
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Gutierrez?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Smoji?
Yes.
Resolution 44. Resolution authorizing contracts with Emergency Preparedness Solutions, LLC, to create a contingency operation plan to protect public workers in future health emergencies. Whereas on Labor Day 2020, New York State Governor Cuomo signed legislation requiring all public employees to create contingency operation plans to protect public workers in all future health emergency. Whereas Emergency Preparedness Solutions, LLC, has experienced experts in emergency management, incident management, public health, business continuity, and various other areas to support response and recovery planning. Whereas Emergency Preparedness Solutions, LLC, has agreed to provide their services pro bono to the Town of Amenia to aid in the development of the New York State Public Employer Mandatory Emergency Plan as required under the Governor's order. Now therefore be it resolved, 1, that the recitations set forth above are incorporated in this resolution as if fully set forth and adopted herein. 2, the Town Board of the Town of Amenia hereby authorizes the Town Supervisor to execute a contract with Emergency Preparedness Solutions, LLC, for the development of a New York State Public Employer Mandatory Emergency Plan as required by the Governor's order in substantially the same form as annexed hereto. 3, the Town Supervisor is hereby directed to provide a copy of the contract signed by all parties to the Town Clerk, who shall maintain the same in her files. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilmembers Doyle?
Yes.
Gutierrez?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Smoji?
Yes.
Victoria, again, congratulations on your quick buzzer. So we basically won a sweepstakes because Victoria has a quick
Yeah,
buzzer finger. And
Yeah, I was at
getting
a
this for free.
webinar at the Association of Towns and legal counsel from Association of Towns, and someone from this company was on it, and he mentioned at the end of the meeting that they knew it would be a financial hardship for small towns, so any towns with 10 or less full-time employees, they would do it pro bono, and he no sooner got the words out of his mouth as my email went to him. So he said, I am the first one, and they are going to do it pro bono. Yeah, that got my attention. Resolution authorizing a public hearing on the intended use of community development block grant funds and the submission of the grant application for fiscal year 2020.
Sorry, this is 45?
It's 2021. Whereas the Town of Amenia is a participant in the Dutchess County Urban Consortium for the Community Development Block Grant Program for fiscal year 2021, whereas the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development is soliciting applications for the 2021 Community Development Block Grant Program, whereas the Town of Amenia intends to make an application for a Community Development Block Grant pursuant to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development's Community Development Block Grant Program for fiscal year 2021, whereas the Town of Amenia is required to hold a public hearing to discuss the town's intended use of the Community Development Block Grant funds prior to and in furtherance of making an application for said funds. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board hereby schedules a public hearing to be held at the Town Hall, Town of Amenia, 4988 Route 22, Amenia, New York, 12501, on the 5th day of November 2020 at 7:00 p.m. At such time, all parties and citizens shall have an opportunity to be heard as to the grant proposal for the Community Development Block Grant Funds being applied for by the Town of Amenia for fiscal year 2021. Be it further resolved, the Town Board has determined that pursuant to 6 NY-CRR 617.5 C27, the proposed adoption of the aforementioned resolution is a Type 2 action not requiring environmental review pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act. Accordingly, no environmental review has been undertaken. Resolved that the town clerk is hereby directed to publish and post the notice of public hearing in the form annexed hereto at least 5 days prior to the scheduled public hearing and post same on the town's website and signboard maintained by the town clerk. Can I make that motion?
Second.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilmembers Doyle?
Yes.
Gutierrez?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Smoji?
Yes.
Resolution 46, resolution approving preliminary budget for fiscal year 2021, establishing a public hearing date. Whereas the town supervisor as budget officer pursuant to section 106 of the town law has presented the tentative budget to the town board for review, examination, and possible revision. Whereas the tentative budget for calendar year 2021 has been submitted to the town board in accordance with town law section 106. And whereas the New York State Town Law section 108 requires the town board must hold a public hearing on the preliminary budget on or before the Thursday immediately following the general election in November. Whereas town law section 109 requires the adoption of a final budget on or before November 20th, 2020. Whereas the town board has reviewed the tentative budget and made changes thereto deemed reasonable and appropriate, tends to adopt the preliminary budget herein. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. The recitations above set forth are incorporated in this resolution as it fully set forth and adopted herein, to pursuant to and in accordance with the provisions of section 106 of the town law and other applicable provisions of law, the annexed detailed statement of estimated expenditures and revenues is hereby approved and adopted as the preliminary budget of the town of Amenia for fiscal year beginning January 1, 2021. The preliminary budget adopted herein shall forthwith be filed in the office of the town clerk in the town of Amenia, where it shall be available for public inspection on the town's website at www.ameniany.gov or by email upon request to the town clerk, Dawn Marie Klinger, at dmklingner@ameniany.gov. For the town board of the town of Amenia shall meet at Town Hall, 4988 Route 22, Amenia, New York, 12501 on the 5th day of November 2020, 7 p.m. Then and there shall hold a public hearing upon such preliminary budget. The town clerk of the town of Amenia is hereby directed and authorized to post and publish the notice of public hearing in the form annexed hereto at least 5 days prior to the scheduled public hearing, and the town clerk shall cause a copy of said notice to be posted on the signboard of the town no later than 5 days before the scheduled public hearing. I make that motion.
Second.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle?
Yes.
Gutierrez?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Smoji?
Yes.
And you have an email with updated public hearing notice.
Okay.
Okay. Resolution number 47. Resolution declaring lead agency and adopting a negative declaration pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act in connection with the revocable license agreement with Stoneleaf Construction, LLC. Whereas the town of Amenia is the owner of certain real property located in the town of Amenia, New York, identified on tax grid number 716709196542, which is currently improved with the town hall building and accessory parking area used for town purposes. Whereas Stoneleaf Construction, LLC, is the owner of certain real property located in the town of Amenia, New York, identified on tax grid number 716709 170520, having an address of 49775 Route 22 in the town of Amenia, New York. Whereas Stoneleaf submitted an application to the Town of Amenia Planning Board on or about February 7, 2018 for site plan approval for the conversion of an existing Presbyterian church on the Stoneleaf property into an office building. Whereas the Town of Amenia zoning code, section 12138A3A3, required 3 parking spaces for every 1,000 feet of office space, which required a total of 27 parking spaces for the site plan approval. Whereas there were 16 parking places on the Stoneleaf property, whereas the application that was approved by the Planning Board on April 11, 2018, determined that 11 additional parking spaces that were required for the site plan approval could be provided pursuant to the provisional parking standards under Town Code Section 12138A3. And whereas pursuant to Town Law Section 64C, 3, the Town Board has management, custody, and control of all town lands, buildings, and property of the town. Whereas the Town Board is willing to grant a revocable license to Stoneleaf for the use of 11 designated parking spaces within the accessory parking lot in consideration of Stoneleaf's agreement to stripe the entire parking lot and provide snow plowing and de-icing services in accordance with the terms and conditions contained in the annexed revocable license agreement. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Amenia has determined that the proposed action is an unlisted action in accordance with the seeker regulations adopted pursuant to Article 8 of the Environmental Law, found at 6 NY CRR Part 617, and designated the Town Board of the Town of Amenia as lead agency for the purpose of seeker review, as it is the sole agency having approval authority over the action. Whereas the Town Board has reviewed Part 1 of the short environmental assessment form, has made a determination that the proposed action would be unlisted action under seeker. Now therefore be it resolved that 1, the recitations above set forth are incorporated in this resolution as it fully set forth and adopted herein. 2, the Town Board is the only involved agency and therefore coordinated review is not required. 3, that upon review of Part 1 and completion Part 2 and Part 3 of the short environmental assessment form, the Town Board officially makes a determination that in the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. Therefore, the preparation of a draft environmental impact statement is not necessary. 4, the Town Board hereby adopts a negative declaration of significance pursuant to Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law for the reasons set forth in the short environmental assessment form with respect to this proposed action, a copy of which is annexed hereto, shall be filed and maintained in the office of the Town Clerk. 5, the Town Supervisor is hereby authorized to sign the short environmental assessment form with respect to the proposed action, substantially the same form as annexed hereto, and the Town Clerk is directed to maintain a file for this determination.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Discussion.
Okay.
Victoria, you want to just summarize what we're doing here and why? Or you want me to do it?
Ian, do you want to take that?
So the Stoneleaf had renovated the Presbyterian church. They have parking that was approved through the provisional standards in the code. The benefit to the town in this situation here is if they provided them the additional parking spaces, like a designated spot in the lot here, that they would then restripe the parking lot for us. They would plow the parking lot in the winter, de-ice, or sand, however they're going to do it, and then in the spring they would sweep up. If they use sand, they would sweep up and clean it in the spring. Under the agreement, they're responsible for any damage they cause, and they would indemnify the town.
Great. I was just going through the actual license agreement. I don't know that we've seen that before, but it looks pretty straightforward. With one exception, they're not required to use pet-safe de-icer. which is fine. Maybe we should consider removing that requirement from our general plowing bid. Might make things cheaper. That's it. I don't know.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilmembers Doyle,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Smoji.
Yes.
So I'm clear, do you want me to make the request as a change to this? No, all right.
No. Our town contract with our snow plowing company always mandates that the de-icer they use be pet safe, and we've heard from respondents in the past that that's driving the price up or causing them not to bid. We don't have that requirement in this license agreement, so I was just making a note for the rest of the board. We might want to scrap it for the bid next time.
Resolution 48, resolution authorizing revocable license agreement to Stoneleaf Construction LLC. Whereas the town of Amenia is the owner of certain real property located in the town of Amenia, identified on tax grid number 7167091965542, which currently improve the town hall building and accessory parking area used for town purposes. Whereas Stoneleaf Construction LLC is the owner of certain real property located in the town of Amenia, identified on tax grid number 71670917052, having an address of 4975 Route 22 in the town of Amenia, New York, Stoneleaf property. Whereas pursuant to Town Law Section 64.3, the town board has management, custody, and control of all town lands, buildings, and property of the town. Whereas the town board is willing to grant a revocable license to Stoneleaf for the use of 11 designated parking spaces within the accessory parking lot next to Town Hall, in consideration of Stoneleaf's agreement to stripe the entire parking lot to provide snow plowing and de-icing services in accordance with the terms and conditions obtained in the annexed revocable license agreement. Whereas the town board of the town of Amenia, by resolution number 48 of 2020, 47? Oh, sorry. Of 2020, conducted a secret review and determined that the proposed action would not result in any significant adverse environmental impact, and adopted a negative declaration of significance pursuant to 6 NY CRR Section 617. Now therefore, be it resolved, the town board acknowledges that they have read the terms and conditions set forth in the aforementioned revocable license agreement, hereby accepts the terms, conditions, and obligations as set forth in said agreement, copy of which is annexed hereto. Resolved that the town supervisor is hereby directed and authorized to execute the revocable license agreement by and on behalf of the town of Amenia in substantially the same form as annexed hereto. Be it further resolved that the town supervisor is hereby directed to provide a copy of the revocable license agreement signed by all parties to the town clerk, who shall maintain the same in her files. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Discussion. So again, we didn't, at least I didn't see a copy of this license agreement before tonight.
It's attached.
Sorry?
It's attached to the resolution.
I know, I have it in my hand, but I didn't see it before tonight, so I'm trying to read it as quickly as I can. But I think the one thing that sort of is a departure from what we had talked about previously is the concept that these 11 spaces are going to be designated. And Ian, I would ask you, it's a defined term in the license agreement. Does, based on the legalese in section 2 here, does that mean that those spaces are unavailable for other folks in the town to use?
So the agreement would provide for a designated parking space for them. This way they know where they are. The remainder of the parking lot obviously is for town use. If the town had a function or event or something where they would need the parking lot, then the town has the right to use those spots. So if it is for a town event, if they're doing, I know there's like farmers
Court.
markets and other events held in the parking lot, then the town would have the right to use those in those instances.
We don't have to ask permission to suddenly utilize the spaces that are set aside for Stoneleaf?
They didn't request any sort of written writing from the town, from it?
So anytime we need them, and they're not occupied,
Then we can use them.
okay, and are they going to be marked accordingly? Not, or not?
The idea is that they would be marked, so because they're
Yeah.
using them during business hours. That's the timeframes that they're using them.
Right, so everybody
So
knows
we
these are
needed-
Stoneleaf.
Yes, so they'll present this because they're marking it, so they're gonna present a plan to the board that the board will approve
Okay.
as to what the parking spaces are, how they're gonna be laid out, what they'll look like.
Okay.
Once that's approved, then they stripe it, and then they're gonna have their designated spots where they can park. Now, again, it's for the business hours. I believe it was 7 to 5:30, I think, were the timeframes that they were there, that they had requested. But if, like, for town court purposes, any town functions, the town still has a right to use those spots for that purpose.
Okay, so this comes as a surprise to me. I think, Vicki, back in the day when we were talking about this, you brought up a great point. You know, in historic towns, and what Stoneleaf did is they saved a historic building and renovated it, and they're using it for their business, and that's commendable. But in Rhinebeck, I think, is the example you gave, Vicki, when a historic building is being used for a business purpose and they don't have enough space on their lot for parking to meet zoning code. It is a consideration the town will frequently make to make public parking available as part of that requirement for a certain number of parking spaces. However, I'm unfamiliar with any town taking public property in a public parking lot and carving off reserved spaces for a business in that scenario. So I'm going to vote no on this just because A, I didn't get the agreement to review in advance and I still haven't gone through it, but B, that to me wasn't part of the deal that we talked about initially. You know, I was under the impression we were granting them the ability to be compliant with their site plan by the use of the parking spots that were available in that parking lot, and you know, sort of first come, first serve in a public parking lot, not that it would be designated for a private business. No further comment.
And I do wonder if this sets a precedent for another business that's unable to provide the parking that would be appropriate. Let's say the B&B across the street is a nice historic Victorian, great business opportunity, but doesn't have the right number. So they would come to us theoretically in the proper sequence instead of retroactively, come to the town board and say, I need 3 more spaces. Can you provide the same to me? What do we say in those?
I think that this is a good deal for the town. The licensee only has the right to use it between the hours of 7 and 5 p.m., 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. And that's also unless the spaces are necessary for a town purpose or a town-approved event. And we're getting the snow and ice removed, and we're getting the stripes. So I don't see anything negative about it at all, and I'm sure it's not illegal.
And
so I
there
think we
doesn't
should
set a
do it.
precedent for another business that wants to come to the town board?
No.
Well, they can,
I
we
don't
can
think
tell
so.
them no.
Jim, I don't
We don't have to
necessarily
say yes
disagree
to
with that. I
everybody.
just don't like being surprised. I mean, the deal we talked about previously was different than having a reserved.
Well, sometimes things get modified a little bit when they get, down to the writing of it. So, but I think it's a good deal for the town. One man's opinion.
I agree with Jim.
Discussion over?
Yes,
Okay, Supervisor Perotti.
yes.
Councilmembers Doyle,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
No.
Morris,
Yes.
Smoji.
Yes.
Resolution number 49, authorizing agreement with Dutchess County eliminating the necessity of review for certain local actions by Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development pursuant to general municipal law. Whereas New York State General Municipal Law, Section 239, requires local municipalities to refer applications for certain planning and zoning actions to Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development for review. Whereas the New York State municipal law authorizes the county to enter into agreements with local municipalities in order to determine which, if any, of the local municipal actions subject to referral may be deemed strictly matters of local determination and therefore not subject to the referral process. Whereas Dutchess County has proposed to eliminate the necessity of its review and comment on the following actions. A, administrative amendments, zoning amendments regarding fees, procedures, penalties, etc. B, special use permits, use variances, and area variances for residential users. And C, renewals, extensions of site plans or special permits that have no changes from previous approvals. Whereas after due consideration, the town board has determined that it will be in the best interest of the town to enter in agreement with the County of Dutchess as proposed to eliminate the necessity of referrals from the above referenced local actions. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby approves the agreement between the County of Dutchess and the town of Amenia in the form annexed to this resolution. Be it further resolved that the town supervisor on behalf of the town is authorized to enter into and execute the attached intermunicipal agreement with Dutchess County to eliminate the requirement to refer certain local actions to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development for review. Be it further resolved that the supervisor is hereby directed to provide a copy of the intermunicipal agreement signed by all parties to the town clerk, who shall maintain the same in her file. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I second.
Discussion.
Okay.
What is this? All right, now I'm just getting cranky because I'm getting surprised on TV by a bunch of stuff that I don't know what it is. I do check my email diligently every day as part of my job here. Are we essentially saying that we are giving up some of our right to request zoning review based on actions the county may want to take in our town?
No.
Ian, can you summarize this? What is this?
So this is actually a renewal. This has been in place for the last 5 years. It's basically been, it's a one-year contract, automatically renews every year for 5 years. The prior agreement had expired. What this is doing is that the actions that are actually set forth in here that would require, when you're doing any one of these actions, you would be required to submit that particular application or whatever you're doing here that's delineated in the resolution. That would have to go to Dutchess County Planning for review. So it's removing that step. So it actually cuts out red tape. It expedites a lot of these applications.
Makes it easier for the town.
Yeah,
Great.
it's a great thing.
Okay. Thank you. I'm very supportive of that.
Supervisor Perotti,
Yes.
Councilmember Doyle.
No.
Councilwoman Smoji,
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez,
Yes.
Councilman Morris.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 50, transfer of funds for October 15, 2020. Whereas the town board has the authority to transfer funds when necessary unanticipated to amend the budget. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund increasing expense line 16204.01.077, building CE telephone by $2,000 and decreasing 19004.01.057, special item CE grant administration by $2,000 for unanticipated telephone maintenance costs. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 1355401.119, assessor CE contracts by $11,729.73, and increasing 13554.01.044, assessor CE tertiaries by $7,279.88, and increasing 34104.01.062 fire protection CE maintenance by $2,990.39, and decreasing 7145101 summer rec program by $22,000 for unanticipated tertiary legal expenses and firehouse generator part replacements. Whereas the budget amendment in the general fund increasing expense line 71102.01 Amenia Parks EQ by $3,543.81 for the purchase of special order security doors and locks funded by increasing the appropriated fund balance 599 by $3,543.81. The cash is currently in the Parks and Recreation Savings Account. We are authorizing the $3,543.81 to be transferred from Parks and Recreation Savings Account to General Fund Checking Account in order to pay for this equipment. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund increasing revenue line 2680.01 insurance recoveries by $18,178.62 and increasing 51324.01.062 garage CE maintenance by $18,170.62 for repair of the Highway Department truck damaged by the Welsh sanitation truck. Whereas budget amendment in the Highway Fund increasing expense line 17104.01 administration contractual by $652.50 and decreasing 51424.03 snow removal CE by $652.50 for collective bargaining fees. Whereas budget amendment in the Highway Fund decreasing revenue line 3501.03 state aid chips by $20,950.26 and decreasing highway appropriated fund balance 599.03 by $20,950.26 for a 20% decrease in expected CHIPS payment. Whereas budget amendment in the Highway Fund increasing expense line 51104.03 general repair CE by $20,905.26 and decreasing 51122.03 112 improvements equipment EQ chips by $20,950.26 for a 20% decrease in expected CHIPS payment. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board authorizes the transfer of necessary budget lines to process the transactions. I make the motion.
Second.
Discussion? Sure.
The matter with the Welsh sanitation truck,
Uh-huh.
what happened there?
Welsh sanitation truck backed into the highway truck, and Welsh paid the whole thing. This is reimbursing us for the cost of damaging the highway truck.
So Welsh is, or has reimbursed the town board?
Yes, the total amount of the repair.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Okay. Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
Councilmembers Doyle,
Yes.
Smoji,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
Okay, town clerk report?
Good evening. Circulated to the board members were the September minutes. Also, give me one second, I'm just folding this. Which we can address at our next meeting. I'm acknowledging receipt formally of the preliminary budget that was circulated this evening to the board members.
Yes.
I also share with you, I'm in receipt of an email from Stephen Bernadette. Stephen Bernadette currently sits on our Board of Assessment Review, and he has sent an email saying that he would like to serve for another term on the Board of Assessment Review. As you'll recall, a month and a half ago, I did advertise for said position, and he is the only one that has expressed interest in serving on that seat. It is a 5-year seat. The board prepared to,
I make a motion to reappoint Stephen Bernadette to the Board of Assessment Review for a 5-year term,
thank you,
Second.
effective immediately
and
Is his term up now?
yes.
in September.
They actually go in September, so 9/30 was when they were up. And that was Damien. Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
Council members Doyle?
Oh, we didn't have discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just looked right
We
now.
had a second, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Damien.
Okay, so I think it would be a good policy for us to follow when board appointments are up, that the applicant come in and we ask them their experiences, hear from them why they would like to return. Sure. And I think it's just helpful. It's a 5-year term. It's an important position. We've had a lot of certorial cases, and I think even if it's just a formality to have him come in 15 minutes before our next board meeting and tell us his experiences and why he wants to continue in that term, it would be helpful. I understand that we advertised and there were no other applicants, so maybe this is moot in this case. And I certainly know Steve myself, and I think he's a very, very good candidate and has done a great job. But I think the policy of bringing somebody in rather than just appointing them because they say yes is not a great policy. It's a time for us to look carefully at their record. They've been attending, they've been getting their training. Yes, check, check. And they came in and they spent a few minutes telling us, you know, I think there's a big disconnect oftentimes between what these people are doing, and it's an opportunity for us to say, what can we do better? How can we communicate and do things better? So that's all I have to say. I still think he is the right person for that position because I think he's done a great job and we don't have other candidates, and he's clearly willing to put in another 5 years. I think that's fabulous. But as a general rule, I just personally know him, but I don't know that you all know him personally as well and know that he is, a great candidate. And I don't want to single somebody out and say, because I don't know you, you have to come in. I think as a general policy, it would be easier for me to make this recommendation every time these come up.
I agree with Vicki on that.
Even if it's 15 minutes.
When someone's coming in, so we get to see
How
their
long has he
face.
been on?
He's been on
At least 15
2
years.
terms
Yeah, at least, so at least 10 or 15 years.
I'd
He's
say
been
10
on 10 or
years.
15 years, and
Served
he
as
also took over as chair.
chair.
He's very, very good. I have no qualms.
But I'm not against him.
Right, that's the problem.
Well, if he wants to come, he's more
But
than
I'm-
welcome to come in at the next meeting and introduce himself, but I think we should reappoint him.
Oh, yes, I agree to that, but I'm understanding what Vicki is saying, that it might be best for not only us, but when our TV is up and things are up, people to actually see the face of someone. They might say, oh, I know him because I've seen him at the,
Well, the only
Dollar
time they would
stores.
see him is if they had an appointment before the Board of Assessment Review
But-
on grievance day.
yeah, but they might just see him around and know who he is, you know.
Yeah, we
all.
could invite him to come to the next
That's all
meeting.
I'm saying is that,
Okay.
Okay, there has been a motion's been made and seconded, and I'll continue. I have one aye from supervisor. Are you maintaining that vote?
Yes.
Okay, councilpersons Doyle?
No.
no for what?
To
Oh,
appo-
The appointment.
To reappoint him.
The motion's been made
No, I think
first
that
and second.
the
Yeah,
point is to bring them in.
and I understand that. Yeah, you
It's a
voted
no.
no. It's okay.
Okay, so, okay.
It's an
all
okay
right.
vote.
He's a great guy, but I think the policy is to bring them in.
That's,
Oh,
I still
thought
have
we
to
would
do
Then
a,
vote.
I still have to do roll call.
I'm
Motion was made and seconded. So Michelle, a motion's been made and seconded. I'm doing a roll call on the motion as though it has been presented to the board
Right.
tonight.
But I just want to clarify, I misunderstood what Vicki was saying. I was saying she would like to introduce a policy going forward.
No.
No, that policy
No,
has been in
she's
place.
not.
We're departing from it on a regular basis. That's all.
Okay,
Yeah, sorry, Michelle.
okay, that's
We
what I'm...
once had a policy that said all board members need to submit a letter of interest, and then the board would interview them.
Okay, all right, so, okay, so I...
Whether or not they'd been there for 15 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for
Everybody.
clarification right now, the motion is that we're reappointing Stephen Burnett for another term, which is of 5 years,
And
effective
I'm-
immediately.
And I'm yes.
You're voting yes. Okay. Michelle is a yes. Councilman Gutierrez
Yes.
and Councilman Morris.
Yes.
Motion carries. Okay, so, back to my report. Stephen Bernadette. Also, tonight in everyone's packets, we have received the September monthly report from the building department reporting For the month of September, building reports, they've issued 19 new building permits totaling $11,942, along with one tent permit totaling $150. They're continuing their certificate of occupancies, which they had done 10 searches totaling $1,375. For the month's total revenue in the building department, $13,467. And Judy will follow up with any zoning reports if there is one. Also, in your packets this evening, I've circulated a report from the building inspector, code enforcement officer, with the request and consideration for a purchase of a vehicle. That's in your packets, if you could please review. Also in our packets this evening, we have our highway monthly report. Highway Superintendent Megan Chamberlain has reported that they have finished grading the dirt roads. She has submitted the fourth quarter report for the bank stabilization of Deep Hollow Road project with Rich Renia. We'll have the plans ready soon to review. They are also currently working on the trucks at the shop, getting them fixed and ready for the winter. They have received 80% of their CHIPS, PAVE, NY, and winter recovery money, totaling $83,801.04. Also in our packets this evening, I have the September water report submitted by SEBI Environmental Service, reporting August and September's water usage, along with works and other matters that they've done for this past month. Also circulating this evening and reviewed by 3 of our board members, I present to you the vouchers on an abstract dated October 13, which consists of 5 pages totaling $135,402.42 and summarized as follows. General Fund A, $113,145.65. Highway Fund, $15,370.57. Amenia Lighting, $1,502.34. Wasake Lighting, $543.87. Amenia Water, $4,839.99. Again, with the monthly total for our abstract, $135,402.42. Seeking,
I make a motion that we approve the payment of the claims.
Second.
that was Doyle, Jamie, and Supervisor Prodi.
Yes.
Councilmembers Doyle,
Yes.
Samoji,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Yes.
Morris. And my, this may I apologize, last report on the table was put in our packets, is we have a report from Recreation. It looks like Supervisor has printed out for all of us a report from Recreation from Kelly Milano, sharing her activity.
Is that website up and running, the
Yes.
rec.com? So are we able to log in or to?
So what you would do is you would create a username and ID, and anytime you want to do something, you would go ahead and register.
Okay.
So I know I had played with that when I first presented it, and I shared that at a meeting, and I went step by step after I had registered for a free event. So whether it's a free event or an event that we have to pay for, you can register.
Okay,
For
so a
participating.
listing of all of our activities would be there. In other words, I could sign up online to take part in the new skate program.
So without touching base with Kelly, and I honestly haven't signed on in the last, since we've had our last meeting, I don't know if they added that on there yet, but
Okay.
in
That's the
theory,
theory?
that is the intent, was that if it's free, if it's a paid program, it didn't matter. That way we could see everyone that was participating. And that's how we obtain our waivers, that's how you get the permission slips, that way we can use their photos, moving forward. So we can touch base with Kelly to make sure that it's on there.
And that's how people will sign up for the baseball program?
That's how, baseball,
They'll pay for
summer
their
camp,
fees
that's how we
online?
want to do everything.
Cashless, other than.
That is the goal.
online. That's great. It's a great goal.
That's where we want to be.
Okay.
Oh, just one other thing,
No.
I just wanted to
Yeah,
say, I tried to find out about the skate program, but no one seems to know I mean, they know who's supposed to run it and
Chris
stuff.
May.
Chris May, but no one seems to know when it's happening.
So I had the pleasure to meet Chris May yesterday.
Okay.
He came in, so fabulous. I told him I can't get on a skateboard, but he's a great gentleman.
Me neither.
Did touch base on a couple of the ideas and projects that he's working on, and I'm sure that maybe we'll hear more about that in town board comments. But I think right now he's just working on trying to figure out when is the best time to get the young folks over there.
Okay.
I did share with him my personal experience that when I see the kids over there, it's usually like 4:30, 5 o'clock. I know the other night when we were coming out of court last Tuesday, I had 4 kids up in this corner, and there were 2 skateboards going. So, you know, we went up and we were chatting with the kids. I gave him a couple names of some of the kids in the area that are currently on skateboards.
Right.
So I think he's going to touch base with them, and then he wants to plant that seed in the kids that do it, and then we can get going. So I don't know so much that he has a set time.
Right.
I did share with him currently right now with Weebatuck, they're on, you go to school Monday, Tuesday, at home learning Wednesday, or you go, you know, to Thursday,
Yeah.
Friday. So I said maybe Wednesdays, maybe there'll be more kids in the neighborhood
Yeah.
that could join him earlier, if it's something earlier. So I think he's still working on the final details, so I don't know that they're really available, considering the
Yeah.
board just gave approvals last week.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of us all talking about it. The adults are all talking about it, so we're hoping the kids get out and play.
Also, they're going to have the trunk trick or treat at Beekman Park on Halloween, which is Saturday, October 31st. It's going to be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you go there and you get your treats and stuff. Was there some other part I was supposed to tell you?
Yeah, and everyone handing out candy will be wearing
You
gloves
have to wear gloves and a mask and
and masks.
whatever you would like. I mean, but you have to be, you know, sensitive to that stuff. And she says she's got it on Facebook and sent a flyer to the Amenia TV, which is great. And she's trying to figure out something for Christmas. God bless her. And we'll see what we can do with that. I just wanted to touch, but I know what I was going to say. I'm going to be at the trunk trick or
Oh,
treat.
everybody come see Michelle.
Come see me.
I'll be
And
there
I don't want
too.
no little candy bars, I want a candy bar.
Yeah, I'm coming.
No big candy bars this time. If you were coming to my house, yes.
So, I love how you slid right into Halloween, and I hate being the bearer of the bad news, but
What's that?
I get to remind the board, tis the season of instilling our Halloween curfew of 8 p.m. for all of our young friends.
Yes. And-
So,
Yeah, and also,
you guys are going to have to move that tonight.
well, Victoria and I will be over there at 2 o'clock, and we won't be there after dusk, so it'll be fine. Also, I just want, about Halloween, just so we know, reiterate, Tally Ho Estates will not be offering trick-or-treaters to come through our park. It's the first time we've ever had to close it down, but we have, well, we have a lot of seniors. Everybody's a senior. If you're not a senior, you're not there. And so there are a lot of people are concerned about, you know, their physical health and stuff. Though there are some people who do like the kids and stuff. And I like the kids and stuff. I like to see them, but not this year. Come see me at Beekman Park. If you like to come see Michelle at Tally Ho, you come see
There
me
you
at
go.
Beekman Park.
So, Victoria, did you want to move with that? The
Yes, now
Halloween?
did we have a age limit?
Oh, I think it's 16 and under is what
16
we
and under?
historically do.
Okay.
Yes, I see.
Make a motion to have a curfew on Halloween for anyone 16 and under at 8 o'clock.
It's Brody. Anybody want to second that?
I'll second it.
Not that I'm pushing it, I'm just reminded to do it. Supervisor Brody,
Yes.
Council Members Doyle,
Yes.
Smoji,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
And on that note, I do get to have one announcement tonight that I get to broadcast. I just want to wish my daughter Carly a very special, sensational 17th birthday tomorrow. So the good news is you can stay out on Halloween.
To 8 o'clock, Holly. right there till 8 o'clock.
I think I better amend that motion.
Oh, I just wanted to ask you a
Sure.
question about the chicken.
Thank you. I'd love to thank everyone who participated and attended and supported the Amenia Fire Company on their chicken barbecue. They sold out, and we had many requests, so 200 dinners were
Wow.
served. So thank you,
Great.
everybody that supported the Amenia Fire Company, as always.
And it was a very good meal. I got mine.
Yes, yes, you did.
Yeah, it
Both of you
was.
did. Yes.
We're right there. We're right there. Keep an eye.
Yeah,
It
food,
was
we
nice.
don't have to cook, we're right there.
We're right.
So thank you. Thank you for asking,
And I
Michelle.
think that was a great thing to do that for the community, because, really, I mean, people can't go anywhere. And I know,
Yeah.
I'm sure you had a lot of seniors drive through and get them.
It was great. Just drive right
Drive
through.
through and get them, because they can't go anywhere. We can't really just...
We're definitely looking at having another one, end of January, February is when Sean was looking at the next one. So with all the support and everybody was fabulous, that he's already psyched and ready for the next one.
Oh, that'd be
So
great.
they'll be planning on more meals for sure. So I know it seems weird when we say, please, and I'm sitting here and announcing, please buy your tickets ahead of time, RSVP, because we base our number and our count off of those pre-sales.
Right.
So, everybody was calling those last couple days, and the text messages that were coming in were great. And unfortunately, we had to turn away. Sean thought maybe 60 people we had to turn away.
Wow.
So that's, and it was a beautiful weekend, but
Yes, it was.
we want to keep those kind of events going, so definitely the support really means a lot.
It does.
Are there any other town board comments?
I have a couple. One is a question, just what is our next step with Altice? I think you mentioned we were going to have another meeting.
Well, I need to get a date for the week of the 16th or the 26th. So
Okay.
if you guys could give me a day and time.
Sorry, the week of the 26th?
Yes.
And the year, it's 2020. Move car. Oh, that's
It's the week of Halloween, guys.
Yes, the week
You
of...
want to do
We're not meeting on Saturday.
No.
you want to do an earlier meeting, like a 5:30
Sure,
again?
if it's, fine. I'm always available, so whatever you guys decide.
Yeah, I have nothing on that week right now, so you better get me now. 'cause-
Thursday, the 29th, 5:30?
Okay. Thursdays are always good.
That's fine.
Does that work for everybody? Thursday, the 29th at 5:30?
5:30.
Okay,
Okay, and this is Altice, right?
yes.
The other was a committee report, so the housing, or I guess it's technically a board report, the housing board, I believe the technical name for it is the Affordable Housing Board, met 2 days ago. I attended. The minutes have yet to be voted on, but have been circulated to the town clerk. They just to give you guys a general update, so what they've been working on mostly is putting together a survey, which will be distributed in some fashion to ideally all the town residents in Amenia. And the goal of the survey is just to understand what people's housing needs are. And the Affordable Housing Committee's task is to help incentivize the development of affordable housing here in Amenia. So what they landed on was sending out a postcard. The postcard has some copy, which I'd like to read to the board. And what the housing group is asking us to do is just for approval for town funds to print up the postcard, mail it out to all town residents. I'm sorry, I had it up on my screen here before, and I have removed it. So, I will read that to you now.
Okay. Did we approve the minutes?
We did not. I figured people needed time to read them.
Oh, okay. All right, no problem.
But thank you, Michelle, for...
You're welcome, because I had one page left, and I said, this, that one, thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so the postcard copy would read, jeez, I'm sorry, I'm looking at an older draft. My apologies, guys. Part of the problem is Leo has sent me 4,000 emails, and now I have to poke through all
I
of them.
couldn't find the postcard attachment either.
It wasn't attached. It was in the body of one of the emails.
Oh.
Unfortunately.
I think we should forward it to them so that people can look it over. And by
Yeah.
the next meeting, you know, give a thumbs up or not, or send him email messages about how it should be edited.
Yeah, I can give you a general gist of what it will read, but yes, I think we should do that. I'll email the final draft from the committee to the board members.
Yeah, I was trying to do the same. I couldn't
But
find
just
it.
so you guys know, they're looking for our support to just have those postcards printed up and then use the town postage to send them out. It roughly says, Amenia's Housing Committee is aware that as residential rents continue to rise, folks are being priced out of their homes. We have been working with Hudson River Housing, NECC, and the Tri-Town Coalition, which includes Millerton and Pine Plains, to develop new affordable apartments in our town. This was part of Amenia's 2007 comprehensive plan and has only become more necessary since. In this residential market, we seek to produce new units priced for working people that are clean, safe, and well located. Workforce housing programs are designed to help seniors, veterans, and recent grads living with parents, agricultural and hospitality workers, young families, teachers, and volunteer firemen. Rents will be subsidized so they are affordable, cost less than 30% of your income. We would like to get input from as many residents as possible before recommending or designing anything. We'd like help identifying your specific needs so we can create policy incentives and housing to address them. Please fill in the following survey. And then there will be a link to a survey on the web, which you can go through and fill out. So that is the report from the Housing Committee.
Can I just jump in
Yeah, go ahead.
and say that the next meeting, and it's open to the public, the Housing Board meeting is Tuesday, November 10th at 5:30 PM. And it'll probably be Zoom, right? More than likely.
I don't have anything else. I did promise Doug and Helene that I would change my shirt before the meeting. They said they were going to watch me on TV, but I was chasing a chicken through their front yard about 5:00 PM today, so I did not change my shirt. I apologize, but
It's a little bright for the...
it was
I like it.
that's all I got.
I have a few items as well. I didn't see in Kelly Milano's report when our next rec meeting is. I don't assume it's her responsibility, but it would be helpful as a paid town liaison to give us that kind of basic information, like, because we want to participate, and the volunteers are the volunteers, but a paid person seems like it would be nice to have that luxury of knowing when the next meeting is so we can all participate.
So it was supposed to be tonight at 7.
Oh,
Where?
it's here?
In the auditorium.
In the auditorium, in the back of the auditorium.
How were we to know that?
I'm working on that because Chris...
Well, the chair
my
of the
Chris was
commission
here
should tell you.
And texted me during the meeting that Chris May was here. I found out through Chris May, is how I found out
Yeah.
that there was a meeting tonight. So we can reach out to Scott. Or if, as liaison, if you want to reach out to Scott and let him know that Chris May was here tonight at 7 o'clock.
Uh-oh. To be at this meeting. Oh, dear.
So,
Okay.
so that way he knows what
Scott.
your availability is. If they're,
Yeah.
if they're changing from what their original scheduled meeting dates were, They need, yeah, so.
Well, we need to be notified because they were doing it every other month, which made it very confusing. Are we on the right month, not the right month? We
So
don't
if you
know.
wouldn't
The
mind
right day,
emailing
they
him
Change the days on it
or
too.
calling him, if you don't have his,
I will, Scott Russo, I
Yes.
will email
Yeah,
him.
he's the chair of the
He's-
commission.
And CC you,
Okay.
and say how hard it is for us to recall when these meetings are and
Yes.
need help.
We need help.
Yeah. The other thing is that it occurred to me if CDBG grants are looking as a priority to wastewater and water projects, and the first step would be a feasibility study, which is plus or minus, let's say, 35,000, and the maximum amount is 150 or 100 to 150,000 typically for a CDBG grant. That we also ask Aaron Moore to look into the needs of the water district. So it would be a grant not only for wastewater potentially, I don't know all the ins and outs of that grant application, but if it could be 35 to 50,000 for whatever we need for wastewater, but also doing a capital improvement plan for the water district, which needs, you know, it's got a problem with the water tower, it's got problems with X, Y, and Z, and we have to be ready for that. And we never did go forward and hire a company. We did interview Erin, and I thought she did a fantastic job about explaining how she would go about a capital improvement plan for the town of Amenia, and it was excellent. So if she could just put in that application as well.
Well,
That's a thought.
Well, I think it's a good idea that you have, Vicki, because we should know where the water lines are and where the wastewater is, because they're,
It's
Well,
kind
she
of
can-
tied.
she can
it's the same
call-
people, basically.
yeah.
She can call Ann Saylor and ask her what the parameters of the
Yes,
grant
if it
covers.
could
I know
be
it
a
doesn't,
joint-
I know it does not cover engineering.
So how are we going to do a feasibility study? We're applying for Aaron's, an engineer, to do a feasibility study. So it doesn't cover engineering.
A feasibility
problem.
study isn't considered engineering. Engineering is actually doing, you know, putting the plan in place to go ahead with. But if she needs clarification, she can call Ann Saylor. Ann
Yes.
Saylor will answer her.
Yes,
But
if-
we haven't approved her even doing anything yet, and we can't do that until the next meeting.
Okay, it's a thought that I wanted to plant, and so that we could look into the eligibility of both projects, because applying for just $35,000 when there's $150,000 on the table seems like a good idea to say, what else could we tie into that? Rather than,
Yeah, she can, I'll send her an email, tell her she can call Ann and talk to her about what we could apply for.
I want to express my enthusiastic appreciation for the building enforcement office, the code enforcement officer, Michael Seglican, and it looks like Ian did some work on the helicopter illegal landings before somebody was killed or whatever. I'm glad that we actually enforced our laws. I appreciate that deeply, and I think that we need to continue. When complaints are filed, we actually should, especially when public safety is a concern, that we should follow suit. So I appreciate it. I'm sorry that it took 2 years to get to this, and multiple requests and complaints and videotapes of illegal helicopters landing here and us not doing anything until 2 years later. But I do appreciate that we crossed that T and I. That's all I have.
Is there any other town board comments? Then I think we're ready for the Jim Morris motion.
I'll modify it a little bit for tonight. There being no further business before the board, I move that we adjourn.
And I second that motion,
Michelle,
being that there's no further business before the board.
8:19. Supervisor Brody? Yes. Councilmembers Doyle?
Yes?
Swoji?
Discussion, no, yes. I'm just funny,
Gutierrez?
folks.
Aye.
Morris?
Yes.
That is too funny.